All right, novice, listen up. Your instruction begins now. I need you to just throw out everything you think you know about space travel. All those romantic stories, forget them. Today's lesson isn't about steering a ship. It's about obeying a machine. A divine and, frankly, a terrible machine. You're going to learn its name, the Via Egnatia.
I want you to burn this into your mind. This is the first, and really the last truth of our order. You see, the network, it's life itself. It's the very will of the Logos, written in light and gravity. But make no mistake, it's also a weapon. And a nervous system, well, it can feel pain. And that pain, it's always felt by the careless, or even worse, the defiant.
So, let's start at the beginning, with the absolute foundation of everything, the Via Egnatia. Think of it as the main artery, the very backbone of the Thracian core. It's the source of all our stability. And it's so much more than just a way to get from A to B. It's the heartbeat of civilization itself. You hear that? That's its rhythm. It's the promise of order in a galaxy that is just drowning in chaos.
Now you need to pay very close attention to the language we use, the official metaphor. We never, ever call it a road or a route. Well, it's beneath it. No, it's a component. It's a vital trace on the motherboard of imperial power. See the difference? It's what allows for that instantaneous, perfectly timed flow of everything, supplies, data, command signals. It is, and I mean this, literally irreplaceable. And this number, this is the bedrock of our entire reality. 99.9% uptime. I mean, think about that. It's so reliable, it's almost mythical. This is what the Logos calls perfect predictability. It's not just a goal, it's an axiom. It's basically a law of physics inside the core, as real and as fundamental as gravity. And that is how order is maintained. Period.
Okay, so what does this network actually connect? Well, look here. These are the 5 pillars, the 5 main organs of the Imperium. You've got New Roma, that's the brain, Antioch Prime, the fist, Nicaea 9 is the memory, Trebizond is the gateway, the hand reaching out, and Thessalonica, the garden. Each one is the absolute master of its craft, a specialist, and yet, and this is the key, completely and utterly helpless on its own.
And right there, that's the true genius of the system. That perfection you've been hearing about? It's not there for our convenience, novice, not at all. It's a tool, it's a weapon of enforcement. So now, let's peel back the curtain and look at the cold, hard logic of how it's all built.
This right here is the core principle of the whole shebang, engineered interdependency. It's simple, really. No core world is built to survive on its own. The Logos designed this symbiosis not because it was efficient, but because it guarantees absolute loyalty. Think about it. A planet that can't feed itself, a world that can't defend itself, it can't rebel. It can only obey the network that keeps it alive.
Let me give you the most critical example, the one you absolutely have to understand. We call it the munitions food axis. On one hand, you have Antioch Prime, the forge. It churns out every single weapon in the Imperium, billions of them, but it can't grow a single scrap of food. On the other hand, you have Thessalonica, the garden. It feeds trillions of people, but it can't make a single knife to defend itself. You see? Each one is a hostage to the other. And the Via Egnatia, it's the warden holding the keys.
Okay, so we've talked about the big picture, the system. Now let's talk about you, the human element. Because to plug into a machine this perfect, your own biology, it has to be disciplined. It has to be brought into line. Because, jumping across light years in an instant, it has a cost, a severe psychological cost. And that's a price the Logos demands from every single person who travels the Via.
Before every single transit, you will undergo this procedure. It's called neurological reclocking. It's a low-level pulse sent right through your neural jack. And let's be crystal clear, this is not a suggestion. It's a mandatory recalibration. It's the only thing that stops the fragile human brain from completely shattering when it experiences a journey that should take months in, well, less than a second.
The steps are simple and they are absolute. 1. You initiate the neural link. 2. You receive the cerebral pulse. 3. You achieve synchronization. That's it. There is zero room for error, zero room for your own little quirks. You conform to the imperial standard clock, or you suffer from what we call chrononausea. And trust me, you don't want that.
And let me be extremely clear about what happens if you fail. We call it clock drift.
This isn't just getting sick, this is a total system failure inside your own head. Your mind, your body, they literally desync from the flow of time. It's a messy, inefficient way to go. And because it's inefficient, it is not tolerated. So you will sink, or you will be purged. Simple as that.
All right, so that's how things work inside the core. Engineered dependence. But what about the worlds on the outside, on the periphery? Well, out there, the law is calculated scarcity. This is where you see the network's true purpose. It's not about connecting people. It's about containing them. It's an interstellar leash, plain and simple.
The Logos wields logistics like a scalpel, with absolute precision. For example, the Ministry of Stellar Power. They deliberately create a fuel bottleneck. Just enough to keep local systems running, but never enough for some frontier warlord to build a real long-range fleet. At the same time, they'll create a controlled undersupply of vital medicines. Puts a biological chokehold on planetary governors. You step out of line? Well, funny you should mention it. Your planet just had a supply chain incident. Coincidence? I'm sure.
Now look at this. This is the Ister Rim, the frontier. Out here, that 99.9% uptime we talk about, it frays down to maybe 70–80% on a good day. All that static, that feral noise, that is what the leash is designed to contain. The only reason the core is so orderly is because all this chaos is kept at arm's length, by design.
But here's the thing you have to understand about perfection. It's brittle. It can break. And to truly appreciate the power of this system, you have to understand its greatest failure. This is the story, the cautionary tale, that every single navigator learns. We call it the Great Desync.
When it happened, the collapse was shockingly fast. Day 1, a random solar flare hits the Orontes system, severs a primary warp gate anchor. Just like that, the network fractures. By day 3, just 3 days, the food shipments from Thessalonica stopped. The forges on Antioch Prime went silent, and the only sound left was rioting and starvation. Just like that, perfect predictability, it was gone.
And this was the price of that failure. After 21 days, the network came back online, and the Praetorian Guard initiated what's known as the Month of Silence. They liquidated 20% of Antioch Prime's entire workforce. And you have to understand, this wasn't just to punish the rioters. No, it was a statement. It was to restore faith in the system by brutally eliminating the human variable that had gotten out of control.
Which brings us right back to that motherboard metaphor we started with. From the perspective of the Logos, the purge wasn't a massacre. It was a reboot. A violent, yes, but necessary reboot. You know, like when your system hangs, you have to do it to prevent a total crash. And the human cost? Well, that was just a calculated, acceptable loss.
So, I leave you with this one last thing to think about. The system you've now sworn an oath to serve, it provides order and stability on a scale the galaxy has never seen. No question. But you have to ask yourself, is all this perfect predictability a gift, a symbol of true civilization? Or is it just the architecture of a flawless prison, a perfect cage you can never escape? Think about that. Your life is going to depend on how you answer.